So the big question is this: how do small businesses like yours, who feel like you're doing all the right things and going to all the right events, reach the federal buyer in a way that helps you win more contracts? That is the question, and this is the place to get your answers. My name is Neil McDonnell. Welcome to the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. Okay, let's get started. In a previous post, I provided an introduction to spin selling, a way to perform business development and capture activities asking the right questions. Now I'll expand on the third type of questions, implication questions. These are the questions that enable you to drive home the seriousness of an issue you've identified and influence the criteria they use to make decisions. I will also include actual questions you might ask federal buyers in this post. First, though, this content is brought to you by the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, the only organization dedicated to the success of all small businesses in the federal space, with members from Guam to the U.S. Virgin Islands and every single state in between. Each year, roughly $125 billion is awarded to small businesses as prime contractors. Our vision is to double that number by helping small businesses truly understand the process for success. Small businesses are the backbone of America. By helping you succeed further in government contracting, we'll be helping American communities. My name is Neil McDonnell, and I've been where you are now. I've been a small business owner for 20 years, building 2 successful firms selling to the federal government. I've won subcontracts with small and large federal prime contractors. I've won prime contracts with defense and civilian agencies. I've done things right, and I've gotten things wrong. The one thing missing, though, for me then and you now, is an easy-to-follow process that will lead to predictable success. That's my commitment to you. I'll provide the process. If you accept responsibility and don't blame others, you'll find you have the control to change your future. Neil Rackman wrote a book called Spin Selling that had guided my call preparation for every sales call to federal buyers. SPIN's an acronym that stands for situation questions, problem questions, implication questions, and need payoff questions. By following this method, you'll have many more successful meetings with federal buyers. Right now, though, let's go ahead and focus on implication questions. Implication questions are follow-on to problem questions. You want to get the customer to acknowledge problems with problem questions. Then you want them to see the consequences and impact of those problems on their office and the agency. If the customer doesn't feel the pain, you're not going to gain a contract. I know that's a bad play on an old saying, no pain, no gain, but it rings true. Your customers must feel the pain of their problems, and that happens when you begin to ask implication questions. You can use implication questions to link problems to other offices or even what the public might be experiencing based on an initial set of problems. For example, if the servers are crashing because they're too old, that's an inconvenience to the IT department, as they must reboot servers every night and do heroics to keep the servers up. But what about the finance office who processes payroll? If servers crash all the time, wouldn't they negatively be impacted? When you ask implication questions, you're helping your customers see the broader consequences and impact of the problem. You're helping decision makers turn known implied needs, I think we have this problem with our servers, into explicit needs. We have this problem with our servers and it needs to be resolved immediately. For anyone who's chased an opportunity that's then canceled, you can probably look back and see that the need never became explicit in the customer's eyes, which allowed them to ignore the need. There are 3 main groups of people you want to meet and ask questions. Focuses of receptivity are people who are willing to help you learn about and navigate an agency. An agency's small business specialist is one perfect example. Another is a large prime contractor small business liaison officer. A primary responsibility of both these folks is to answer your questions and make introductions. They're looking for qualified small businesses just like yours to support their own internal customers. Focuses of dissatisfaction are the folks with problems and needs. Usually this is the program office that has the requirement, but it could also be another business office within an agency that's dependent on the program office for products or services. Focuses of power are the money people. While a program office has the need, only a contracting officer can award you a contract. Contract specialists support them and have linked power, if you will. Let's go ahead and go over a few examples you could ask based on which role you're asking. No matter who you meet with, remember, be persistent, be polite, be prepared. I've said this before, be persistent, be polite, and be prepared. That means taking the time to write out questions that could help uncover challenges, pain points, and objectives. In a previous post, I had walked you through problem questions. The next 15 implication questions are designed to serve as an example of what you might ask as a follow-up to those problem questions. Let's go ahead and start with small business specialists sets of questions here. If they tell us the program office is not that engaged, we can follow up with, does it make your job harder when the program office doesn't engage? We want to see how we can encourage engagement with the program office. When hearing that the program office has concerns, we can ask, how have you tried to help the program office resolve their concerns? And we're asking this of the small business specialist, right? How have you tried to help that program office resolve the concerns? Maybe they think smalls have no experience and you could provide past performance examples to smooth that concern. We want to expand on leadership's commitment to using smalls by asking, how engaged is leadership in communicating small business value throughout your agency? Are they putting the word out to program offices, encouraging them to meet with smalls to discuss needs? If we learn that it's hard for them to get requirements set aside because program office resistance, we can dig further into something that is obvious but should be a concern to leadership: goals. With limited set asides, aren't goals hard to hit? Now, generally, your tags and the small business goals, I don't really care about them. But in this particular case, small business specialists and leadership in an agency, they are measured on small business goals. If a large prime expresses concern to an agency about working with smalls, we might ask, how interested are large primes in resolving the concern? We're trying to shine a light on this and say, are larges just complaining, or are they actually stating a problem they want to address? Let's go over some examples you might ask when meeting with a program office point of contact. If you learn that the costs are a concern, you could ask, if costs dropped, where could you invest those savings? This gets them thinking about all the things they can do after you help them save money. If we learn of an IT department's top concerns from users, we could dig deeper with, what impact do user concerns have on their output? Turning this from just a concern expressed to the IT department, let's say, to an understanding of how the user community would benefit from a resolution of their concerns. How do you handle backlog without enough subject matter experts? Is a great question when you learn that it's hard for them to find skilled, experienced people. If they're not satisfied with the current process, you can discuss benefits from your help. What benefits will you see with process improvement? Do they plan on improved customer service, cost savings, or some other benefits to their program office or the agency? Explore that with this question. If we learn through an agency's strategic plan that poor quality is a top challenge for the agency, we want to dig further on input throughout the agency. How is poor quality impacting mission performance? Another could be, which departments are most affected by poor quality? Let's dig into some examples for a contract officer and others in the acquisition team. What happens when not enough small businesses respond to an RFI or sources sought? So this is after they've told us that, hey, we just don't get enough small businesses responding. We're digging further with this question. We want them to acknowledge that the opportunity will go full and open, so we can then discuss how to help them set that right. How can we push this to small? They mentioned their top pet peeve about smalls. What benefit would come from small businesses fixing that problem? You, at least, want them to see that you hear that concern and want to avoid making those mistakes. Could you see more small business wins with better writing? And this is where they're telling us you write a recommendation, but you don't tell us why we should listen to you. You want to hear them discuss that they'd love to award more small prime contracts if concerns with proposal responses are addressed. You might hear an opportunity won't be set aside because it doesn't appear smalls can do the work, or not enough smalls respond to sources sought. Asking if small businesses address that concern, could it be set aside? Allows you to see if they're truly open to setting an opportunity aside. What benefit to the government would come from more talks with industry. And here we're asking them about their engagement with industry. And how will this help you move forward? Asking this question will help as you push forward or push the contracting folks to introduce you into program office shops during both your BD and capture effort. You want them to think about the benefits to the government and then realize they need to help you be part of those talks and introduce you further into the program office. Implication questions help you turn risks, concerns, or implied needs into explicit needs. This can help at any level in federal contracting, including when talking with small business specialists, contracting folks, and anyone in your target program office. When I say that government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process, properly preparing for meetings and asking the right questions is part of that process. Before you do your next call, take a minute and write down 3 or 4 implication questions. Then, while on the call, try to weave them in through your natural conversation with problem questions to help the customer understand their challenges, which will prepare them to hear your solutions. If you found this content valuable, others will too. Please give it a thumbs up so they can find it. If you'd like to connect with me personally, do so on LinkedIn. We often do free training webinars and interview federal buyers. Make sure to sign up for the GovCon Chamber's email list to be notified about these opportunities at www.govconchamber.com. Finally, please consider becoming a sustaining member of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. I'm Neil McDonnell, wishing you great success.